Every team has at least one player who dominates every time he steps into the field. So today we're taking a look at the best player of each NFL team. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Anyways, let's begin with DeAndre Hopkins. He was considered to be a top 3 wide receiver while he was in Houston, and he showcased that in 2020. However, an injury in 2021 didn't help his case, and a suspension in 2022 is even worse. Regardless, this list is about the best player, and the only ones who could compete with Hopkins for this spot are Murray and Baker. The next player is Terrell. The Atlanta Falcons found a stud in him, and even though he hasn't been in the league for a long time, he's put his name among the best cornerbacks of the game. Besides, he's a major piece of this Falcons defense. Next up is Lamar Jackson. The former MVP hasn't been quite as good since his 2019 season, mainly due to injuries. However, he is arguably a top 10 quarterback and his raw talent has no denial. And in addition to that, he's only 25 years old. And now we have Josh Allen. The Buffalo Bills have a lot of talented players, but it's a no-brainer to pick Allen here. The start of his career wasn't great, but he massively improved over the last 2 years, and now he's even the favorite to win MVP in 2022. Next up is Christian McCaffrey. When healthy, he can make his case as the best running back in the league. Injuries are a major concern with him, but again, this list isn't about who'll perform the best, but rather who is the best talent-wise right now. Now for the Bears is Roquan Smith. He's been under the radar for the most part of his career, but he's put up great numbers. I mean, he was even named to the second team All-Pro both in 2020 and 2021. He's literally the definition of underrated. Then we have Jamar Chase. I know, Joe Burrow is also a strong candidate here, but I think Chase is better at his position than is Burrow at his. Regardless, both of them could be here, and they were key pieces of the Bengals' superb turnaround last year. And now we have Myles Garrett. He has been elite ever since he joined the league, and he was a top 3 player at his position last year. Garrett is easily the best player on a stacked Browns roster, even with Deshaun Watson. For the Dallas Cowboys is Micah Parsons. The rookie had an amazing year in 2021. He unanimously won Defensive Rookie of the Year, and he even finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting, ahead of players like Garrett or Donald. Up next is Russell Wilson. The former Seahawk has been elite ever since he was drafted in 2012, and despite having only one Super Bowl to his name and surprisingly not a single MVP vote, he's insanely talented and could be the missing piece on a good Broncos roster. For the Lions, I'll go with TJ Hockenson. Despite only playing 12 games last season, he still managed to get some good numbers, and there is no doubt he's a top 10 tight end right now. Then we have Aaron Rodgers. He won back-to-back MVPs, and without Davante Adams, I don't see anyone in the Packers who could take this spot as the best player in the team. I mean, Rodgers is easily a top 3 quarterback. The Texans then have Brandon Cooks. Having back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons with an average quarterback is something remarkable. Cooks is the best player in a bad Texans roster, but hey, Davis Mills could help him stay afloat. Then we have Shaquille Leonard, previously known as Darius Leonard. He's the leader of a good defense, and he established himself as one of the best linebackers in the NFL, being a master at causing fumbles when tackling. And now we have the second Josh Allen of this list, this time over in Jacksonville. He got 4th place in the Defensive Rookie of the Year award voting back in 2019, and he played very good last season, so I think it's fair to him to have him as the best Jaguars player. Up next, we have Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs might have some good players, but there's no doubt Mahomes is the best, and it's not even close. The former MVP and Super Bowl MVP has been considered to be a top 3 quarterback ever since he got the starting job back in 2018. Anyways, for the Raiders is Davante Adams. Despite having some great players like Max Crosby, Adams takes the crown with no major difficulties since he's arguably the best receiver in the entire league. Then for the Chargers, we have Justin Herbert. I won't get tired of saying this, Herbert is having the best start to a career any quarterback has ever had stat-wise. So, even though the Chargers have a lot of talent, Herbert is in my opinion their best one. Up next is Aaron Donald. He's arguably the best player at his position all time, so it's a no-brainer to have him as the best Rams player. However, shout out to Cooper Kupp, who would have made this list had he been in most of the other teams. For the Dolphins, I have Tyreek Hill. The former Chiefs receiver was Patrick Mahomes' primary weapon alongside Kelsey, so he easily established himself as a top 10 wide receiver. Now we have Justin Jefferson. The Vikings got a generational talent when they drafted Jefferson a couple of years ago, and his stats are looking good. Jefferson is on his way to be one of the best receivers of our generation, and of course, he's the best player in the Vikings. Then for the Patriots, it's Matthew Judon. He was signed to a 4-year contract last season, and he delivered, having 12.5 sacks and establishing himself as the best player in the Patriots team, which was trending downwards. Up next, we have Alvin Kamara. Just take a look at this clip. This is Alvin Kamara's world and we're just living on it. Yeah, Michael Thomas might be good, but Alvin Kamara is just the best player in New Orleans. The Giants also have an elite running back in Saquon Barkley. He had a magical rookie season and then fell off, which was mostly caused by injuries. However, in terms of talent, Barkley is special and easily the best player in the Giants. Now for the Jets is Corey Davis. I considered putting CJ Osoma here, but he was catching passes from Joe Burrow while Davis was catching them from Zach Wilson. Anyways, now we have AJ Brown for the Eagles. The newly acquired wide receiver has dealt with injuries in the past, but when healthy, he is one of the most dangerous players in the football field, so I think he's the best player over in Philly. Now for the Steelers, we have TJ Watt. I think it's a no-brainer. This guy just tied a sack record and was named Defensive Player of the Year. TJ Watt is easily the best player at his position, and I don't think anyone within the Steelers could make his case to be a better player. The Niners then have Nick Bosa. His rookie season was great, helping the Niners to get to the Super Bowl, but then in 2020 he tore his ACL. However, he came back even stronger in 2021, getting 15.5 sacks alongside 52 combined tackles. Up next, we have DK Metcalf. The poor guy lost Russell Wilson and now he'll have either Drew Lock or Geno Smith throwing at him. However, there is no denying he's the most talented player the Seahawks have. For the Buccaneers, I have Tom Brady. What can I say? He's the greatest player of all time, so I don't really think I should even be explaining this one. He's 45 years old and he's still killing it. For the Titans, I have Derrick Henry. This guy is an absolute beast and arguably the best running back in the league. His stats are perfect and he's one of the main reasons the Titans have been able to play so good recently. And now I have Terry McLaurin for the Commanders. If you take a look at his stats, they don't look amazing, but when you see the quarterbacks throwing at him, then you'll see why I think he's the best player in Washington. I mean, not every wide receiver makes plays like this. Anyways, I hope you liked this video. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.